All right, here we go. Welcome to Existential Spices, episode 2. Woo!
Woo, woo, woo.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm scared.
Why are you scared?
Always scared. Live in a perpetual state of fear.
That's the way to go. Welcome, everybody.
Hello, you lovely people.
Welcome, Mao. Welcome, Spooky.
Hi, hi.
We are doing Hoarding and Goat Simulator, my favorite game, and also my namesake, so I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, Moat's got the goat part down. I have the unhealthy amount of emotional baggage.
Yeah, so that's why we chose this. I hope you guys are all as ready as we are. It's definitely not last minute preparing.
Uh,
Just scroll here.
it may seem like it, but
It's all an act. Yeah, it's all an act.
they keep us relatable.
Um. Yes, but less so. Okay, so we are going to get started.
Whoop whoop.
Let's see. I don't understand what these mutators are. Should we do mutators or should we let's just do vanilla to start off with?
You just do vanilla. Mutators are additional bonuses to add to your goat for extra stuff,
All right.
like jetpacks and things. You're gonna get scared as soon as you fly off into the air. Except that there will not be any decent control.
It's been a long time since I've played this.
It's a good game. It's a solid good game.
This is bringing back amazing memories. How do I lick this boy? Oh, good.
I mean, you have amazing memories, Moat, and that's good. Hold on to those. What you shouldn't hold on to is anything that would keep you up at night right before bed. You know, those moments, those thoughts.
I mean,
when you're about to go lull yourself to sleep.
I might have some issues about this tongue. That is,
Yeah, like most people, I recommend you don't remember that tongue at night.
I don't know how to let go of this. Okay. Which ties into the theme of our podcast.
That's why I was going for a subtle version of this, but yes, we will call it out again.
So, hoarding is what we are talking about. So, there
But
are...
no.
Pardon?
Go ahead.
Oh.
I'm about to say... No, yeah, go ahead.
Were you going to ask what is hoarding?
I was going to ask, why in the world are we talking about hoarders when this is a mental health type podcast?
Right. Well, so there are two types of hoarding we're talking about. One is the official medical diagnosis from the DSM-5, but then there's sort of the broader, so that's the medical version, I guess. But then there's also the broader version of hoarding, which I like to refer to as cultural hoarding. And so that's something that I find is a broader part of our culture, and I think it is a huge phenomenon that leaks into everybody's everyday life. So we thought that that would be a good subject as we move garbage around attached to a goat.
I mean, okay, but what does DSL-5 have to do with anything? I don't understand.
So the DSM-5 is the official book that psychiatrists and I guess counselors use as well to diagnose people. So this is pretty... Isn't hoarding attached to mental illness? Why, yes, Kyle, it is. Thank you. Also, I hope you're doing well, Kyle. So, the official diagnosis medically is 1 in 50 people struggle with severe hoarding.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But, this is obviously the medical definition, and that is an affliction at its worst. And it's sort of people's preoccupation with people who have this disorder is pretty pervasive and sort of almost voyeuristic in our society. We have these
we have a show called Hoarders where we watch people struggling with mental health issues have things.
Yeah.
A bunch of things.
As well as TLC's Hoarding Buried Alive.
That show upsets me.
Yeah.
Like, I get they're
it's not the
helping people,
best.
but it is weird to watch it as television. Anyway.
Yeah. And I think what's weird is people watch it because I think there is a big impact. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people sort of deal with this in their little ways, so people see the most severe forms and the images are shocking, so it
Well, if
sort of
anyone
captivates people.
if anyone has watched the first Existential Spices, which is lost to time now, it was a special timed event. You would
theater.
know, that I am incredibly healthy with no type of emotional or mental discrepancies in any way, shape, or form.
True,
So I
same
don't
here.
think I'm going to be able to relate to this week's hoarding.
Mm-hmm.
I will, however, unload my emotional baggage onto chat.
Yes, which is great because we also have emotional hoarding as well.
Okay,
So,
but like, okay, mental illness versus being just lazy.
okay, so why? Thank you for asking, Kyle. So the reason why they're hoarding is an official diagnosis in the DSM-5 is because hoarding's a type of obsessive compulsive disorder. I feel like we planted Kyle.
No, that's fine.
Well,
don't worry about.
Kyle,
Don't worry.
thank
Kyle's
you
not
for
real.
asking.
Cow content combat.
Yeah. Healthy like a nice fish, exactly. So
Yeah, I got you.
hoarding is a type of obsessive compulsive disorder right now. So it's estimated a quarter of people with OCD actually are also compulsive hoarders. So the categorization of hoarders being a type of OCD is being reevaluated, and in the future it could be its own diagnostic category outside of the whole umbrella of OCD. So, yep.
Okay, so to like more directly answer the Kyle question, you would say you could argue that like hoarding in a mental illness sense is this unhealthy obsession with being unable to let go of a idea, an item, or what have you, whereas being lazy is I could do that tomorrow and you just choose not to.
Yeah, and
Like
I think
it physically pains you to do it is the mental illness, and the being lazy is I'll just do it tomorrow.
yeah, exactly. And so the official 6 factors that define the actual like disorder in terms of OCD is persistent difficulty discarding or parting with possessions regardless of actual value. So that's due to like this perceived need to have to save them. So it's not like you just don't feel like cleaning up, it's like you need to have these items.
It upsets you to know that this item is no longer in your possession.
Exactly. And then discarding the possessions or like the problems with discarding them results in accumulation of them, and they substantially compromise a living area. So a big difference between just sort of like having a messy room and actually resulting people who have this is you cannot move or like use your kitchen the way it was supposed to be.
You are being inhibited in some way. It is negatively affecting your life, which is the typical like basis for most mental health issues. It is like the difference between being like depressed and being sad isn't just like
or being narcissistic and then having
things that actively are
narcissism.
negatively affecting your life to inhibit you from living in society.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's the same as being sad versus having depression, like being narcissistic versus having narcissistic personality disorder, like,
versus being confident.
Yeah. So it's just like that's sort of the line is between there. I'm having a lot of trouble getting up this ladder.
It's not that hard, Mo. You're a goat. Just climb the. If you can't get into the castle, I suggest you grab 5 people and take them into the woods and sacrifice them to our Lord and Savior.
I'm trying to do my best. Okay, come on. Just make it.
Hello, squad. How are you doing, friend? I will be the voice of the people.
And Duck. It's so nice to see you. I hope you're enjoying Duck
Quack.
Simulator. Nope. Goat
Quack.
Simulator. Okay. I can't see anything. Oh.
Keep
I didn't
walking
go inside
forward.
yet. I thought I went inside. So
That's
wait,
okay. It happens to everyone.
there's a couple more things though we need. So it causes clinically significant distress or impairment. It's not attributed to another medical condition that could be more described by it. And then it's not better explained by another mental health disorder. So saying delusions in schizophrenia, decreased energy from being depressed, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And hello, squad.
Okay. Kyle says, the world's based on a bell curve. Are people who are obsessively clean on the opposite end of the curve of people who are hoarding, or does this emotional attachment to the item put the hoarders on different bell curve together? I've never referred to society as like being on a bell curve.
Well, I mean,
Is
like,
that
I think what Kyle means is, like, everybody is on a bell curve to some extent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like people
Yeah.
who are really neat versus people who are really messy. So is this the same sort of, are people, like, if you're on one side as a hoarder, is that put you on this side of the spectrum? And then the other side is a neat freak. So is that how this would be? So, okay, number one, we're not mental health professionals, so we can't
We are not. We have
definitively answer this
a
correctly.
couple of weeks of research and documentation to work with,
Yeah.
as is the nature of all future and current Existential Spices episodes.
This is true.
We are not a substitute for a mental health professional. If you want to take anything from this stream, know that unprofessional people are able to recognize, or able to, like, you can handle these situations as well as we're seeking medical attention. Like, we're here to kind of spread awareness for these things rather than treat these things.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's your disclaimer.
So to answer the question with that disclaimer is I personally don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that, being obsessively clean, I think some people with OCD are obsessively clean.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are both, like, you could be have a hoarding disorder and have OCD, but also be a clean freak and have OCD, so it's almost sort of the same.
Yeah, there's so many variations of it that
Yeah.
generalizing in that sense might be detrimental.
But I think that, the emotional attachment to the item and not being able to use it, I think is that puts it on a different bell curve than just, like, obsessively cleaning stuff.
Right.
But
Okay.
again, we're not. Don't cite us in your medical research paper, please.
Yeah. Hello, Pius. So, where were we? You listed off the 6 characteristics.
Yes, that's what we're at. I think the doctor also has to has to specify whether an individual is experiencing something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that is?
Doctors experiencing things. No, I do not, Mo. Tell me. What is it?
So, whether an individual acquires items they don't need and don't have space for.
Mm-hmm.
So that's excessive acquisition, and then the insight of how they view what they're doing. So is it they think that they're totally understand that they cannot use their kitchen right now, it's not great, or is it, like, absent, or are they delusional, like, this is fine, I need 4 couches in my kitchen, this is important to me, so that's in the medical.
And yes, Squat, I would be a more coordinated goat for sure.
It's probably true. I've seen Chum be a coordinated goat, and I did not do the best.
No, she was just watching from afar.
Also, hello, welcome to the stream, Cock Lobster.
All right, so.
And Pius. It's really nice.
Hello, Pius. All right, but Mo, you said something about the cultural. I don't understand.
So,
I'm the voice of the people, and I don't understand.
So I think.
Should I be angry at it?
Am I angry at the voice of the people?
No, should I be angry because I don't understand?
No, you should be fine. You're doing a good job. Oh god, I summoned a lot of goats. So 1 in 50 people have the hoarding disorder, which is very severe. But the reason why we wanted to talk about this is to focus less on the official medical definition, although obviously we want to explain.
Yeah, I don't have 50 thingamajigs, ignoring the thousands of trading cards in front of me.
A lot of trading. But yeah, we didn't really want to focus mainly on the medical condition, because although it's to me very interesting, 1 in 50 people do have it, so it's pretty rare. I think what's more common is this sort of cultural pervasiveness of hoarding in the more colloquial sense. So less in the medical official diagnosed version, more in just society's obsession with holding on to things. Oh god.
Okay. So what you're saying is we're going over emotional hoarding rather than... Well, there she goes. Anyway, emotional hoarding as opposed to the act of physically holding on to your thousands of blue-white dragon cards, which is a terrible, crappy Yu-Gi-Oh card, and you should be ashamed. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna
Like-
shame it like Blue Eyes. That's actually pretty hard.
Well, I
Point is,
think it's a mix. I think it's definitely the emotional hoarding for sort of what we hold on to mentally, but then also, I think what's also important to realize is that to some extent we all have too much stuff. We all feel the need to accumulate a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We all like have sort of a closet in our house that's just full of a bunch of trash, and we just don't know what to do. You know?
Yeah, we refuse to throw away some things.
Yeah, even though it logistically doesn't make a lot of sense, especially in our living situation. Oh
Yeah.
God.
It's not to the extent of being like a detriment to my life, but the other day when I was sorting out all these extra trading cards I had, realized like I don't need 5 copies of this card.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need 1 copy of this card in particular. So I had to sit down and like get a trash bag because I couldn't sell them and just start throwing away the copies.
Why couldn't
And
you
I
sell
realized
them?
that felt difficult. That felt like genuinely difficult to do. It's like I'm never gonna use these, but here I am struggling to chuck them. And no, I couldn't sell them. They were literally worthless. $0, 0 cents, total trash. I'm kidding. I'm not throwing away things, but I did have to get rid of them in a fashion.
So Squad asked a good question. Thank you, Squad, for this question. Is keeping a bunch of things because you think it will be worth value hoarding? What do you think, Chuck?
I mean, I think when it comes for it to be like hoarding in a bad sense, it has to negatively affect your life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like, I'm gonna hold on to this comic book until it acquires value, that's fine. I'm gonna hold on to these comic books even if my house gets totaled. I will stay right here and I will keep these comics until it is finally time. I don't care if my house is burning down. I will keep them.
Yeah.
Like there's a very clear and obvious one is negatively affecting your life. You should leave the burning building, and the other, is like this will be worth something someday.
And I feel like we all are that person or know that person who will hold on to like useless items, being like, oh, you just gotta wait 50 years, man. If you wait 50 years, this is gonna be worth so much money.
Yeah. But those people aren't hoarders until it negatively affects your life.
So,
the act of losing this item pains you.
Yeah.
And
I
you
think,
are unable to remove it. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, versus just like having a collection. I think like having a collection is good if it's in a positive sense, but a lot of people get caught up with it. So, let's see here.
Obesity?
So I personally, so I wrote this down. I think that the way people sort of hoard possessions in our culture is very similar to sort of the obesity epidemic, because there is an obsession with accumulating possessions and selling us possessions, but then there's also huge money going into decluttering our possessions, right? So, for example, as we're accumulating more and more things, the public storage industry has become a huge industry. So it's made over $32.7 billion in 2016. And
but would you argue that having possessions equates to being wealthy and successful?
I mean, to some
Having
extent.
more of a thing makes you seem better than like having multiple Xboxes, even if you only play the one.
Having like 5
makes you
Xboxes.
sound better than a person with just one Xbox.
I think I'd question why you had several of the same item. Because I don't know if I think Storage Wars is like, that show is kind of, what's it called? I think they plant stuff, because I think the average storage box is just full of a bunch of garbage.
I mean, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
But the point is just like, we in society value having things as opposed to, like living modestly doesn't sound appealing. Having exactly enough that you need, or a little bit more but still be fine, doesn't sound nearly as appealing as having your 5 different sports cars.
And then there's a lot of money.
Yeah,
exactly. And there's a lot of money into going into ensuring that you want to have 5 different sports cars, you know what I mean? Or you need the next like 400 pairs of socks, right? Probably not socks. I don't know why I said that. Sneakers. Sneakers makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you say like society is encouraging this hoarding, which can then develop into the more severe negatively emotionally negative hoarding.
Yeah, exactly.
Holding on to things built in.
And so,
And...
yeah, no, sorry, keep going.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, so, basically, the issue with having all of that is it does actually, not only are you physically encroached in all these things, but then you also have actual negative impacts mentally with that. And that's when, also, what the hell is going in with this dude?
Don't worry about it. You should go into the sewers.
What happened?
Jump into the water and
sewers?
look at the sewers.
Okay.
Yep, that's sewage drain.
Oh. How do we get
No,
into
not
the
that
sewer?
one. Wait, actually, can you just get in the water? You can swim. Kind of.
Wait, can I jump into this?
Yeah, I don't think it's that one though. Actually, I think it's on the left side.
Oh, okay. I have
just-
repulsive power.
Oh,
That's
there you
not
go.
the first time.
Yeah.
This is good?
Yep, you're in.
I don't
No,
know
keep
which
going.
one.
Keep going.
Alright.
You turned around.
So basically, so going back into it affecting you negatively, not only just what you're accumulating, but
Take a left.
from a mental point of view, where are we going? What the fuck?
I gotta live in this delay.
I'm
It's
sorry,
the Ninja Turtles,
what?
Mo. Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, hoard everything,
Okay. Oh
keep
my
it
god.
all.
What is this?
It's Ninja Turtles, Mo. Teenage
Has this
Mutant
always?
Hero...
Wait, why are they dressed
Yes.
as Shrek?
They're not Shrek, Mo. They're Ninja Turtles.
Turtles definitely don't have. Oh my god! It just kicked me. Turtles don't have ears like that. It's.
No, turtles do. They just you haven't looked at a turtle's ear holes very much.
Are these Shrek
They're-
Ninja Turtles doing the Milliwatt?
No, they're definitely not. More importantly, Mo. So why did we bring up the societal aspect of it? I have a theory, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
All right, let's
Especially
go.
because the answer key is right in front of me. I'm just not looking at it right now. I have a theory. What you're saying is, society kind of encourages this, like, have more things means you're better. Not even like necessarily having more money, just having more things. It becomes harder to let go of things, and if that's built into your society, you could start to internalize that in other ways you don't mean to. Like maybe remember that embarrassing time that you slipped and fell in the toilet, Moat, and we all heard a big splash because you tripped, and so you go to bed that like months later and you remember that moment. Now you can't sleep, and you're like, I guess I'll cry myself to sleep because this one thing I refuse to let go of that was a minor inconvenience bothering me. You're hoarding bad emotions. That's what it seems like.
Yeah. And so, a lot of this sort of physical stuff moves into metaphysical. So like a preoccupation with holding on to more things than you need physically can often go into holding on to more things than you need mentally. So that's what can cause a lot of anxiety in a number of ways. Also, hello, Simeon. It's nice to see you. Shrek is love and Shrek is life, because this is definitely Shrek. There's no doubt in my mind.
It's the Ninja Turtles, Moat. You've just never seen Michael Jordan's Ninja Turtles. What was his name? Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles.
Oh my god.
Michael Jordan and Michael Bay are basically the same person. They have explosive personalities and unnecessary to be around.
Just a tour de force in their field, you know.
Yeah,
They
definitely
really
not people I want to talk to.
Sculpted their butts. They moved the shell up so they could animate their butts.
I mean, you don't want to poop in your own shell, Moat. That's screwed up and gross. You want to hoard poop? Disgusting.
I don't understand what's happening. All right.
Anyway, you should go back to the other city and sacrifice the people to our Lord and Savior in the woods.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna find the wood.
Okay,
I'm also
well, you
okay.
can
I
go back
guess
to-
Shrek's coming with me for now.
That's fine. All right, but what did Guy Fieri say?
Let's take the train to
Joseph
Flavortown.
Joseph Ferrari.
Oh, Joseph Ferrari. Wait, okay, right, okay. I
Guy
swear.
Fieri.
I feel like you said Guy. Okay. So he is a professor of psychology at DePaul University in Chicago, and he studies the well-being of clutter. No, not the well-being of clutter. The causes of clutter and how it affects your emotional well-being. And so he defines clutter as an overabundance of possessions that collectively create chaotic and disorderly living spaces. So Ferrari published a study in this magazine called Current Psychology, which I assume is a very important place to publish things. And it measured participants' well-being in relation to how clutter might affect their lives and asked them to react to statements such as, "Clutter in my home upsets me, and I have to move things in order to accomplish tasks in my home." And so the study, well, for one thing, the study found a substantial link between procrastination and clutter in all age groups, which made me feel personally attacked. I gotta let go of Shrek because I think I'm caught underneath the ground.
Yeah. Also, like, are you in the original town? Or are you still in Shrek City?
No, I can't get rid of this Shrek thing. I can lick this.
I mean, that's always a question to ask on stream.
Anyway, so substantial links between procrastination and clutter, and this frustration increased with age. And especially among older adults, the clutter was associated with life dissatisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
So what they found is that clutter can induce a physiological response, including increased levels of cortisol, which is actually a stress hormone. So not only is our culture very obsessed with sort of emotionally hoarding, aka holding on to a bunch of baggage internally, externally it actually in turn causes us stress. So we're sort of as a culture really holding on to items, and it's sort of, we're holding on to both items and internal thoughts, worries, anxieties, and so it's sort of double hurting us. We're probably stressed out because we're thinking of too many things at once and doing too many things at once, and then our actual accumulating items gives us actual stress responses. So cortisol is released by that, which is basically we're kicking ourselves in the foot.
I don't like being kicked in the foot. That also sounds difficult.
You couldn't cook yourself in the same foot, but if you used a different foot, then you could.
I suppose that's true.
There you go.
But, okay, Moat, you said emotional hoarding.
Yeah.
You went from cultural to emotional. It sounds like a lot of different hoarding. Are you hoarding, Moat?
I think I'm hoarding different types of hoarding.
That seems unhealthy.
It's not. It's
and
not
it's causing me emotional distress right now. And anxiety, and cause failed relationships. You know this, Moat. You know these things. My Neopet is dead.
My Neopet is starving. I do agree.
My Neopet is dead, Moat.
I don't
And
think
an intense emotional attachment to that Neopet, and all the different Pokemon that I have like freaking bred and created and refused to trade. Just essential components to life. Okay, I need them. I need my Neopets. I need my Pokemon. I need more trading cards, Moat. Get me more pictures of Spider-Man.
I have no idea. I have no idea what the password to my Neopet account is, and it haunts me every day. Okay, so we have to, as in go into this goat thing here. Where is the forest of which we sacrifice people? Because I mean,
it's the top of the hill by the protesters.
The protesters are down there, though.
Yeah, like it's a path upwards. You can find tiki torches and a pentagram.
Okay. Don't worry, I'm on my way.
In the meantime, Kyle Content says, I once read that people in the first world countries are actually stressed out by the amount of choices we have. Perhaps hoarding can occur when we decide to buy all the options and all the time just never get rid of the ones we don't use. That's true. That is absolutely fair. I think I mentioned earlier, like we sort of, our own value or self-value comes from how many of a thing we have rather than how often we would use it.
And I think it makes sense that in a world where, things are made really easy, people have more disposable income than they used to. It's like, why not just buy every type of thing? I don't know if I want this or this or this. Why don't I buy all of them and see which one makes me feel the best,
Yeah, it's just like, do I want the honey barbecue chips or do I want the sour cream and cheddar chips? I think it's better if I just get both, because I'm going to be upset when I go home and I realize I want the other.
Although that has happened to me.
Yes, that's true.
All
right, so there's a hill, okay?
Yeah, I'm on this hill. I don't see the.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're gonna have to go down.
I have to go down the hill? Man, I
But
just
yeah,
gotta-
like there's a path. It literally like if you look for torches, it is not like it's not difficult to find or to get to. You don't have to climb a mountain to do it.
You said it was at the top of the hill. Now I'm...
Yeah, well, not that hill, Moat.
When I just found the biggest hill and I decided to climb it, I figured.
Yeah, well, see, that's why you've got so much garbage and Fallout.
I mean,
Picking up things.
I have really good garbage though. This is the path.
No, you don't.
I have really good
You have to get rid of your garbage.
I have a really good amount of garbage. I'm fine with my...
Where are those protesters? Well, actually, just go up the stairs.
I'm at the top.
Okay, where are the protesters?
They're at the bottom.
Where? No, where are they? Like in relation to you?
Like here-ish? Here, I'll go
That's
find
not.
them.
Yeah, go find them. To better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Exactly.
Mhm.
Every person in their life has had an instance where, I mean, I'm just, projecting at this point. A lot of people have had an instance where they needed something and didn't have it, and they wish they had had it. So to avoid that, we're just gonna gather as much stuff and prepare. You've been blindsided by some instance in your life. Okay, so see that hill? Go to your. Oh, I have to deal with the delay. The hill behind the protesters,
Oh, okay.
where you go in the deep dark woods. I have to deal with the delay. Not where the cars are.
I'm walking forward.
You're walking the other direction. Turn around.
I was walking. This was the fourth. Oh god, I just. Oh god, I just.
No,
Oh!
I have a 5-second delay. You're gonna have to bear with me. You got hit by a truck. That's
yes,
where I'm at.
That was not the best.
No, it was not. Okay. So Moat, we've talked about like what it is. And I more or less projected my necessity to have these things. Can we? How does emotional hoarding connect to the obesity thing? Are you just throwing words together? Are you a lie simulator?
So I mean I that was my name in high school, but
That was your name in high school? Oh wow.
So I just sort of felt like when I was looking through a lot of these studies and stuff that there is a big analogy between this and obesity, because there is, as soon as there's an industry who's trying to get us to purchase things or purchase, fast food and all of these products, there is another ton of money going into getting rid of things. So that's why the storage industry is so big. A huge phenomenon, which we're going to talk about, I found the pentagram thing, later in the show, is the fact that the KonMari method has picked up so much.
The Katamari Damacy method? That was for like the all 2 viewers that know what that is.
Okay. So I...
Bring 5 people here.
Okay, I gotta bring 5 people here to sacrifice? Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I think a lot of people probably know about it because of Tidying Up by her Netflix special, but for people who don't, it was this woman called Marie Kondo, and she created her own way to declutter people's houses. And it was, I mean, that sold 9 million copies. So people are obviously really having this problem and really wanting to solve this problem. So I feel like it's just sort of strange to me that, yeah, we have all these people trying to sell us things, and then we have whole industries going into getting rid of the things that we don't have. So in terms of obesity, we have all this money going into like fast foods and unhealthy foods, but then all this money for us to drop that weight. So there's a lot of industries trying to get us to put on pounds and take away pounds. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting take on this move. You're going with the establishment.
It's the industry, man.
Oh man.
Why we're sacrificing
You know what?
people to the
There are a lot of bad
gods.
things in this world, Moat. There are a lot of bad things. Like the
That's-
Australia bushfires.
Do you want? Okay, should we? Is this the halfway point? Is this what you're saying?
It's actually.
Okay.
We got about. Yeah.
So, we want to take this time to talk about an awesome initiative being put forth by Mizu Gaming. It's called Mizu in Motion. So on February 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, which is very early, we're supporting families of fallen firefighters in New South Wales. So that is, that's this Saturday, next Saturday. So Chum, what are you thinking about this event? Will you be participating by any chance?
I will be participating. In fact, I'll be starting the 9 a.m. February 29th streams, Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be trying to climb the Bloody Palace in Devil May Cry.
Excellent.
And I'm really going to do my damnedest to earn anything to help those people in Australia.
That's very cool. I will be actually following you at 1 p.m. I don't know if you knew that. So I'm going to be so I'm going to be doing some Fallout 76. We're going to build a base. And yeah, it's basically just going to be, we're going to be passing it on to a bunch of Mizu creators, including Nap Times and Pixel Pete, and we're basically just going to be streaming, and everything that we get in terms of donations will be going directly to helping the Australian bushfires, which is a really, really awesome opportunity. Pretty excited that we get to be a part of it. Yeah, so it's I'm
Thank you,
excited.
Mizu.
So everybody, please stop by on it's 29th.
February 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I'm excited to be involved, and it's going to be a good time.
I'm incredibly scared.
It's going to be a great cause, so no matter what.
Right.
Have I gotten the Flappy Goat achievement?
There's in one of the houses you can play the Flappy Bird game using the Goat Simulator controls. It's difficult.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep licking people and bringing them to the top.
That's fine. That's fine, Moat. You get your truck stop days back in action. You were the most prolific. They called you the Bautista of the streets.
Like John Batista?
I don't know, Moat. Just trying to make something. I realized I had an idea for a word. I chose not to say it because we need to follow Twitch TOS. Okay, so emotional hoarding, though. That, since it's not a physical thing, it might be kind of harder to sort of internalize. Do you have any experiences that might help put that into perspective?
I mean...
Or should I open up my dumpster fire?
I think you should. You know what? I want to hear this dumpster fire. Let's go.
Alright, so, emotional hoarding. My perspective. It is the reluctance to let go of, in some cases, either a traumatic event or a otherwise mundane event. You know, those thoughts that right before you go to bed, and like, you know, remember that time you did blah blah blah? Man, that sure was awful. And like, you just won't let yourself forget that moment. You won't let that one otherwise traumatic or inconvenience, like, you won't forgive yourself for it. Jasper84 with the raid. Is PTSD a form of emotional hoarding?
Okay, wait, should we do a raid song?
Do a raid song, then we'll talk about the PTSD, because I think we mentioned that earlier regarding a different thing.
Sounds good. I'm gonna turn down the music.
Alright, do I have to sing along? Because I don't know the song.
I mean, I'm just gonna make up lyrics, so you don't have to. Okay, here we go. Thank you, Jasper! 1 second!
Nap times with the raid!
Oh my, okay, here we go.
It's your boy Chum. He is here.
I imagine a place where you can be with us. Jasper and Nap Times, thank you for the raid with us.
Woohoo!
We hope you had a nice time playing your game. And we
Your
hope
games
that
were
you
great.
have a fun time learning about hoarding. I hope
Hoarding.
that you have a nice time with us.
I'm a better
Nap
content creator
Times
than
and
Moat.
Jasper, thank you for the raid. Nap Times and Jasper,
Thank you for the raid. I'm as good as Moat, I swear.
I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I did.
I certainly did. I got to contribute. You can't watch this VOD, Moat.
What did you say?
Don't worry about it, Moat.
Thank you everybody for the raid, and thank you everyone for the follows, and I appreciate it.
You majestic, lovely fellows. You are just in time to listen to me complain about my emotional problems.
Yes, okay, let's get into it.
Alright, so, emotional hoarding.
Yeah.
In my perspective, I think I mentioned how it's
Thanks for the
actually,
follows, everyone.
Before we go to that, the PTSD, is that considered a form of emotional hoarding? I'd argue no, based on the definition we used earlier, where if it's like, if a physician classified your your ailment as something other than hoarding. It was that ailment instead.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say as well.
Yeah. Now you could have like aspects of like refusing to let go of that traumatic event, and that's just where the human psyche starts to like defining things.
Yeah.
Within amongst the brain is kind of difficult.
And the thing,
there are exceptions.
Yeah, the thing about emotional hoarding is, I think like emotional and cultural hoarding, the things that I feel like affect us more, are, I mean, they're not official diagnoses. The only diagnoses is the hoarding disorder, which is part of OCD. When it comes to cultural hoarding and emotional hoarding, that's something that I feel like affects definitely me and Chum, and I feel like it affects like most people.
Yeah.
And,
now, with the definitions that us as a stream have provided, you could argue the PTSD outlet. In fact, one of my examples would be classified arguably, debatably, as a potentially traumatic experience for some.
But again, it would definitely, from a medical perspective, be under
PTSD.
a separate category.
Yeah.
All right, Chum, let's go.
So,
trauma time.
okay.
Trauma time.
The happiest anyone's ever talked about traumatic event. No. Okay, we'll start off like, this is obviously not a traumatic one. This is much lighter. It was August 2nd at, I think it was like 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It was one of my earlier streams. I had my first troll, which is like, well, also it's not so bad. And I was just like, for whatever reason, that moment, like, where I was like getting yelled at by the trolls, like, I understand that I'm screwing up and being wrong, and then like it just turned the whole stream into kind of like this weird dumpster fire, where my lovely and amazing chat were arguing back with the troll and blah blah blah. The point is, ever since then, I have been like, because I played a different kind of game than what I normally play, I am now like worried that I should stick to games I know how to play from now on. Because I don't want to have someone who doesn't know, or hasn't been to the stream before, watch me be bad at something, thus justifying their resentment towards me. It's like, that's not a healthy way to do that. Also, that was one troll in like 2 years.
Like, we actually looked up the date of this yesterday, and it's from like August 2018, which is like the very beginning of both of our streaming careers.
Yeah,
so...
it's like, but the hoarding aspect is just like, okay, well, that's one instance that I refuse to let go of, and it's not necessarily traumatic. But it did like negatively affect me in the way of, now I'm paranoid that I need to be good or stay in my lane, essentially. But that's I wouldn't call that hoarding yet. But then you add there was this instance in school where I had forgotten my name tag, and I used to go to this really like oppressive school, and forgot my name tag, and I was threatened to be expelled essentially on multiple times that day because I didn't have a name tag and didn't have the $5 to buy a new name tag, and I couldn't go home. That's
schooling in its finest, to fine you for not having a name tag and kicking you out of the school. That shows you education's the most important thing.
So it's like, well, I need to make sure so ever since then I need to make sure I always had all my possessions. And little instances like that start to add up, and me not confronting or dealing with any of those things, I started to hoard those negative emotions, negative feelings, and like have my life directed around them. Like, to avoid this situation, I need to hold on to this feeling that doesn't matter. That one troll never came back. Never. I didn't have a repeat incident ever since.
Yeah, I don't even think I've ever seen someone be that bad on your stream since then. Which is honestly great luck, but also just shows to show that like,
so it's like
that like carrying those feelings around and carrying those worries around have been detrimental.
I'm choosing to hold on to those feelings that would otherwise be totally irrelevant. Now, on the arguably deeper end, when I was 5 years old and I had a puppy for like a week. The puppy was kept outside for reasons I don't even remember them exactly. He was put on a chain and he was by the porch. That's the scenario.
Chum, are you okay?
Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
Also, these people are escaping. How many more people do I have to sacrifice?
5, Mo. It's just 5.
But they keep running away, though.
Just throw them in the circle.
I did.
They're good. You just.
I think
yeah,
I've
you
done
just need to-
5.
You have 4, Moat. 1 escaped.
Oh, damn it.
Drag it back.
2 of them
Anyway.
escaped.
So like, one morning,
Never gonna
you know,
end.
being a little babby chump with his dinosaur pajamas on, ready to greet the day, play with his puppy, went outside. I was like, hey Derby, blah blah, blah, hi. And then I noticed that he was actually hanged himself with his chain dangling off the side of the porch. That was arguably pretty
Chum, are you okay?
terrifying.
Chum, are you okay?
Oh. And so like, pretty graphic, pretty scary, especially for a child. How does it get into hoarding? Well, the feeling of it wasn't even the seeing the incident that was scary. It was the idea that like I was so unprepared for that. I was so blindsided by this arguably traumatic event, this scary event,
It's a really traumatic event.
that it affected my life down the road. I am now paranoid of being blindsided by stuff. So I need to grab as many items as I can and everything, so I am prepared for every situation. Need to avoid any situation that I would think has a blindside event. You know how to predict the the unpredictable? You can't.
You literally can't.
That's by definition you cannot. It's unpredictable. Instead of like taking the time to really confront that event and any other future events where a loved one has passed away without me being prepared for it, I decided to hold onto those feelings and let them kind of contort my sense of things. I need to be prepared for everything, even though I just said I can't. Emotional hoarding in this case is holding on to these bad feelings, these bad events, and having them negatively affect your life. And it's like, again, I argue it's not traumatic. It just impacted me for the rest of my
I think
life.
it's incredibly traumatic, Chum.
And it's like you feel yourself with regret and things, and the obvious answer here is like, it's not your fault. You could not have known this. You are having a really tough time sacrificing these people to Satan.
No, they just keep moving.
I've never seen someone this bad at sacrificing someone.
I think it's like I don't know, like they get up all the time.
Yeah, like I only had to do this once, just knock them out and then just drag them up here.
How many times do I have to knock these boys out?
Just put them in the center of the circle. You like throwing them at the edges. Point is, that was my thing, and it's like, all right, sometimes you get a little real on this show. I realize that a lot of the stuff we talk about, I might have some sort of problem. I said that really like the Joker. All right,
I hope you don't have. I hope that you were not the Joker.
I hope not. Anyway.
Hello to Bon Schmeg.
Yeah. Emotional hoarding until the dam breaks, so you rearrange things and fix the mess you made instead. But in the end, all you did was move the furniture around. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't confront the seeing my dog hang itself. I didn't confront that. I simply guided myself into ways where I could never see that again, or emotionally distance myself. And that's not good. It's like, it's okay to, this thing was scary, this thing hurt. Let's confront it. Mo, do you have emotional baggage, or should we just go into solutions?
I think we should go to solutions.
Okay.
Like, building in 76.
Yeah. Grab all the pocket plants you can. I don't know why I said pocket
The
plants.
pocket plants will make my life. Will solve my life.
Hold all the items in Skyrim. You might need that plate someday, Mo. You might need it for a mission.
It's
You've
true.
beaten Skyrim 4 times, but you don't ever need it for anything.
Sometimes you need 400 plastic pieces.
Sometimes you need ammo for guns you don't own.
don't directly attack me like this.
I mean, Mo, we could next time you stream, which apparently is a Sunday at 8, give or take.
It is this Sunday. Okay, there's 5. I should be a satanic goat now.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, maybe you just have the model ready. Do you just already have it?
Am I? But I usually have like a special goat face, right?
Yeah, you're the demon goat. That's why you sacrifice them to our savior, Goat Satan.
I don't think that I.
Goten.
I don't think that I became a demon goat.
Goku-san, Goten. Anywho, Moat. As someone who chat could argue experienced a potentially upsetting event, how would I go about doing this? How do I deal with my emotional baggage? Do I put it all down inside like I've been doing for years?
Okay, so
I'm 24 now.
So we're going pretty metaphysical here. So to go we're going to go to solve this. I think one of a good way is to look at the physical, so a physical solution. And so that goes back to the KonMari method. Should I just give up? This is bullshit. I'm so annoyed.
Yeah, you're having
I hate this.
Turn on your mutators. Get your jetpack on.
Oh yeah, I forgot my mutators.
That's what the goat thing is.
I guess I can never be satanic, is what I'm learning.
I mean, I guess so. It really sounds like you're just gonna have to accept being a basic ass bitch.
Hey, I'm gonna be an angel. I'm gonna do all of these.
Okay, all right. It didn't just press Y to turn them on.
Oh, I have to turn. Okay.
You just press Y after you and now you've equipped them. Just press Y and fly.
Oh, nice.
Just jump and press Y.
My emotional.
Oh, I guess you're PC, so I have no idea what your control button is. But Y is the.
Well, now I just look like a very heavy goat.
I mean, you are kind of heavy goat. I almost said girl, goat.
What do I hoard? Or we have to go into mine. I mean, do I have emotional bags of milk? So, I think that like when I think of emotional hoarding, so this is not really like, again, this is not the scientific definition. The only scientific definition is like actually having all the stuff.
Yeah.
Making sure
Holding
you
on to
can't use a kitchen for a kitchen.
Yeah.
I think like going up upon with you, having that sort of like troll sort of hold over you it sort of reminds me a lot of just like anxieties and having anxiety is that there's a lot of worries and thoughts that sort of preoccupy you, right? So if you're really worried constantly, like, is it you who said like because you're always ready for everything now you have just like a bag, like the same way that people have like, you know, when like the woman's super pregnant and they're about to give birth and they have like an emergency backpack that they like bring to the hospital? Don't you have that just in case of like a fire or something?
Yes,
yeah.
I do have escape bags.
Yeah, so you have just like the constant pregnant woman bag, but all the time.
Yes.
Cool. So I think that the issue with having that sort of like constant fear and worries about things, which I still have, is it really weighs me down. And in the way that, you know, having a bunch of actual trash and clutter around your house can cause a lot of stress and a lot of cortisol or whatever. I think that it's the same way mentally, right?
Yeah.
So mentally, having all those thoughts, all these preoccupations, having all these worries, that causes like a lot of stress. And it seems like it's helpful because it seems like, oh, I'm always going to be prepared for this, or I'm always going to be, you know, if I'm constantly worried about getting good grades in school, or if I'm constantly worried about, you know, for me it was like getting my visa or whatever to stay in America. If I'm constantly worrying about these things and have all of these insecurities and worries buzzing over my head all the time, like that's preparing myself. Like that's my emotional emergency to go knapsack. You know, but in reality, it just causes a lot of stress. In reality,
never be complacent, Mo. Always be worried.
Yeah, in reality, that actually does the opposite of
tires you
helping.
It
tires you out, and it makes you less able to do anything. Like to the point, you know, I've been through stages in my anxiety where I've been unable to like function. You know, so obviously that's not helpful. One thing that really helped me, I guess, if we're gonna stay on the metaphysical side, is meditation. So I guess meditation is sort of like a mental KonMari method, you know? And I struggle with this all the time, but it is, you know, it's something I want to get back into because it has been like incredibly helpful. And it sounds like a bunch of like random mumbo jumbo bullshit, but there's a lot of science that goes behind it. I read a book.
If it works, it works, Mo. As long as you don't put rocks up in your body.
I read a book that was catered towards like nerds basically, and the like chapters were devoted to them explaining that this isn't bullshit, this is their science behind it, and then explaining all this science, which is totally the amount of like the book I need.
What's the solution?
The solution's mindfulness. What?
Mindfulness?
Yeah, mindfulness meditation.
Oh, okay, I see. Meditate, reflecting upon these things.
So basically, an example is looking into like
it's hard to stay happy where you are. Every day, it's harder to stay happy where you are. There are all these things, all these ways that look through the fence into the neighbor's yard. Why even risk it? It's safer to stay distant when it's so hard now. Just to be content, there's always something else.
r/mindfulness. Thank you, Schmeck. That's very
Dummy
cool.
thick earth, John.
Dummy thick earth. And so basically, I'm sold on mindfulness now because I really enjoyed the book. That half the book was telling me this isn't bullshit. This is science. So the thing is, especially with, you know, we got our phones, we got our anxieties, we got our worries. There's constant noise going in our brain, so it's like not only just the emotional baggage, but it's also just like we can't focus.
You're flooded on with information every 2 seconds.
Yeah. Similarly to me, I look like this goat right here.
Get on the boat.
Goat on a boat.
Yep.
And so basically what mindfulness seeks to do, and I really think people should just try it out, although it's hard to get into, but it's super important, is just stay and calm the mind. Don't constantly be distracted. Don't constantly like run away from all the things, all the emotional baggage, like looking
Stick your tongue to the boat. I'm listening.
Yeah. How do I take control of the boat?
You just press Y.
Press Y. Okay, I'm gonna have to look at the instructions. Option.
Yeah. Okay, so yours is sort of like, declutter your mind. Start getting rid of some of those things and putting them in a manageable way.
Yeah, and that has been very helpful for me, and it's proven to help. Oh, I was wondering what BAA stood for, like if that was like a way to like program it, but it literally you just say bah.
Yeah. For me as a person, I realized that like to deal with this emotional baggage is obviously like it's saying just let go of it. It's a bit harder to do, but having like talking to someone and having them put it to perspective. Like I talked to Moat earlier today actually while we were going over scripts and stuff. It's just like you realize that troll was the only. Good job, Moat. The only troll you had that entire between now and then was just then. Like that was it, and they were dealt with very easily and readily. Like it's not that big a deal. Like putting into perspective that it's not so bad. And like for the lower scale things, you can just say it's not that bad. You don't have to alter your life around it. It's okay to accept that things can be out of your control. Those things are going to hurt and they're gonna sting. And people don't like when it hurts and stings unless they're into different things. And that's a whole different category, which is fine if you want to do that. It's okay. And so for me, it's putting it into perspective. And from almost getting yelled at my school from name tag to seeing my dog hanging from a chain. It's like, yeah, those are things that suck. Obviously not to the same extent, but they can be
obviously not to the same extent.
Yeah, but you can handle them accordingly. It's just like that was a bad experience. It hurts, but it's in the past now. And being paranoid about the future every 2 seconds is just gonna make life harder. You'll be less prepared by trying to be over-prepared. It's like, you're not letting yourself live your life.
Yeah, you gotta let go of something.
Yeah, and that's sort of how I deal with it. Just learning how to let go. Not just learning to let go, learning how to let go. Moat went with mindfulness. I went with putting into perspective. But
I mean, this is not mutually exclusive. It's definitely.
Yeah, of course.
Well, you could definitely do a number of different things. Make this trophy.
Yeah, for a wide variety of problems and stuff. And as far as existential spices goes, I think it will. This is part of how I'm learning to let go of stuff. It's treating these not quite like therapy sessions, but kind of like I don't have to just keep the baggage in my head. I can just talk to someone. And if I get, if we make a good show out of it, and we have a good time, and I feel good afterwards, then like everyone wins. Except for Moat, who's just incredibly awful at this game. Oh my god.
Oh, look at this. I'm doing a great job at,
Moat, you're doing awful.
Well, how do you win this game? Why don't I just get the most goats? Like, there's no...
Get your goat, Moat. Get up in that house. So, emotional hoarding. to like regular hoarding is learning how to let go, learning how to let go of these items.
Right.
And
And so
the first step in everything is take the time to do it.
So going back to the physical is talking about why was Marie Kondo's KonMari method so popular, right? And so I think a lot of it is because we are preoccupied with accumulating all these things, and there's a lot of money going into accumulating all this stuff and storing all of this stuff. So now there's a real need to get rid of the stuff. And so there was like a definite like cultural issue with accumulating this. And I think it was really, really cool because what Marie Kondo did with her method is very countercultural and very, I think it's sort of like honestly like getting hit with like cold water. And so basically the 3 steps to the method are to clean quickly over a short amount of time. And I don't have fleas, by the way. Sort by category. So she wants us to go from like all the clothes to all the books to all the papers, etc. And then the third and the most important thing, which is, does it spark joy? And so when I first read that, I think it was on like a subreddit post because I was trying to figure out how to clean my dorm room, which was always a mess. Still kind of is, but was definitely worse. I have grappling tongue.
I mean, that's probably a word.
So basically, I kind of thought that was probably the lamest part, was does it spark joy? But now I realize it is probably one of the most important parts of her thing, and that's sort of why I wanted to bring it up in terms of hoarding. Because, so anyone who doesn't know this, I am an expert because I have the book, and my roommate let me borrow it, and I am happy to say that I've read almost none of it, but, I got a couple passages saved, and I read through a few, and this is gonna be my go to sleep book from now on. She basically wants you to hold every single piece in your hand and think to yourself, does it spark joy when you hold it, like in your body, which is like a very strange, weird metaphysical feeling. Eb the Veg also owns books he's never read. It makes you cooler, what I've heard. So basically, the way that she says it, which is the most adorable thing I've ever heard, is she just says, like, it should feel like, ding! So, does it have that ding feeling when you hold it? And if it doesn't, then you should get rid of it. Because why are you holding on to something that doesn't add to your life, basically? Yeah. And so, that to me was very countercultural, you know? Because it all of a sudden you get rid of a lot. You get rid of a lot of things. Oh, I thought that was Ed the Veg. Oh, Futuria says I've owned many books I've read.
Yeah, I was talking to chat.
Okay. I was like, are you repeating the same? Okay.
No,
so basically, like, in terms of, not only does that solve sort of cultural sickness in that sort of physical term, so in terms of holding on to items,
physically letting go of those items and compartmentalizing them in ways to where you can, learning how to let go,
and realizing that the things that don't spark the ding feeling, you need to get rid of them, right? So in terms of emotional baggage, you know, was their joy resulted in constantly thinking of this troll, like, attacking you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Or is there joy in holding on to that memory? Is there something worth holding on to that? And the answer is no, right? Like, this wasn't a productive person. This wasn't like someone trying to do the right thing. This was just someone being mean, you know?
Yeah.
And the idea of getting rid of that baggage is very much like that really ties into that sparking joy feeling.
Yeah. Well, I think this has been very eventful, Moat. Also because we're at our time.
Oh, are we? Okay. Well, are there any final thoughts that
we have a few minutes for final thoughts and opinions, chat. Um, if you heard a bleepity bloop earlier, that was Moat's fault.
What bleepity bloop?
Oh, I guess you weren't listening to it for the alarm. That's okay. Word to her.
Oh.
Uptime. Oh, we got a few minutes for anything.
Yeah.
Where can I find this on YouTube? We got about 10-15 minutes.
I believe that it may be posted on YouTube after. Are you talking about for this particular podcast, or like, is there something that you want to learn more about? Because we have like a list of sources.
Yep, there's the Mizu Gaming YouTube, and also the VOD for this stream will be available.
It will not get deleted this time.
It will not get deleted or forgotten.
Hi, lady.
Unlike our emotional baggage, which will be deleted and forgotten.
We're gonna try.
The first episode is lost to the ether, though. That was a first come first serve. Definitely not operator error on Moat's part. Not Moat's part. You know, hashtag blame Moat. Definitely none of that. Yeah, it was hyper exclusive. As exclusive as that bench.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why that guy gets to sit there and not you, Moat. Filthy, covered in fleas.
Well, Schmeg, hopefully you can take something away from this.
Yeah.
Did anyone remind me to turn on before it? Yeah, this absolute ass basket British person told me to. Mal, do you know what I might be talking about?
Chat, do you have any questions about, like, either us as individual creators, or Mizu, or the topic we had today? Can I get a link to the Mizu YouTube?
Does it exist yet, is the question that I have to ask.
I mean, I wouldn't definitely ask that live on stream. I would certainly send someone a DM about that.
Well, if there is one, we will DM it to you for sure. Yeah, stand by. There we go. Let's see. What was I gonna say? We would like to thank, Pixel Pete and Lady Lee Lay for the amazing artwork. We have their Twitches here. Our awesome logo, and, we have a starting soon screen, and we also have a BRB screen that we didn't play today. They are, because of them, so I appreciate
They're
it.
lovely and majestic.
And then, we are, Ev, we're doing short ones today because they're more like podcasts. So we're keeping them shorter than like a stream.
Since this is a show, we're not gonna have like super long ones like we would streams. But the VOD is available, as well as us as content creators. If you have questions or submissions for ideas regarding future Existential Spices, our down to earth weeks of research mental health station channel. Mo has fleas, okay?
Thanks, Schmeg. I appreciate it. And there will be a VOD.
There will be a VOD. Moat, do we have an ETA on the next Existential Spices?
Why, yes, we do. Yeah, Ev.
Good, I don't have no idea.
Ev was in our promo, so he scared a lot of people. You should check that out on, I guess, my Twitter. Twitter.tv/ No.
Twitter.tv. Moat Simulator on Twitter.
Yeah, and also follow Mizu Gaming on Twitter as well. So, next Saturday is the 29th, which is, again, the charity stream for the fallen firefighters in New South Wales. Please stop by. And then our next episode of Existential Spices will be March the 7th. So, I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know about you.
I'm definitely not scared between now and then.
Maybe
I'm scared of everything, Moat, okay?
Fear will be episode 3. That could be a good topic.
How to confront fear itself, because for years, I was literally afraid of the concept of fear. If someone told me something was scary, I was just like, well, this now is scary.
That's why I like scary, that's why horror movies scare me, because I get scared even before. Oh, so everybody, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Am I subscribed to the YouTube channel?
I am. Probably. If it exists.
If I wasn't before, I definitely am right now.
Absolutely. Outside of so we are Mizu Gaming content creators, but we also function individually as individual content creators. This is where if you want to find Moat and check out some amazing and fantastical Bethesda nonsense with the I've never seen a more impressive and unique build in any game. With the Moat build in Fallout 76.
You
You
like
can catch
to
her
repeat.
Wednesdays and
I don't know.
Sundays at 8 something p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome. Awesome possum. All right. So, thank you
My
guys
name's
for
Chum,
stopping
so
by.
I should show myself here. I thought Moat and I were gonna trade
Oh,
shields,
we're gonna
but I guess
trade?
we're not doing that.
Follow Chumblago13
I thought we were
at
doing that, but I guess we're not. Okay, never
twitch.tv
mind. I guess I don't deserve to be here. I'm gonna go now.
chumblago13. That's CHUMBLAGO. He is 13 Kiwis in a trench coat, and he likes to play character action games such as Devil May Cry, Nier Automata,
Sekiro.
Monster
No,
Hunter
you've watched
World.
my
Is that a
channel for like
character
over a
action?
year. How are you struggling this
Is
hard?
that a character action game? He does play that though, once in a while. Apex. But yeah, so that is what we have so far. In terms of rating, hi Stupid. Simeon, does it matter who we raid?
Yes, Simeon, Lord and Savior Simeon.
You have
We
someone in
sacrifice
mind,
these
or
people
else
to you.
we will. I am gonna choose someone.
Discord DMs.
Okay.
All right, so while Moat does that, hello, my name is Chum. I don't have my face attached to this stream. Not because I'm embarrassed to be around Moat in any way, shape, or capacity, because that would be mean. I simply like existing as a Kiwi, though I do have various outlets and things. So if you want to see a variety of content, absolutely make sure you're following Mizu Gaming's channel. And if you want to see a personalized, content or a specific brand of content, check out the individual content creators.
Yes. Okay. I figured out
Yes.
who we're gonna raid.
That's great, Mo, because I was chilling and stalling for time, and you were just kind of sitting there.
Well, at first I was like, I
with
thought that
thumbs and
Simeon
hoping-
meant to check my DMs for who to raid, so I wasn't really paying attention.
That's okay. You're sitting there twiddling your cheeks.
All right. So, I have been given this power. So as a result, I am going to raid.
I'm not allowed to have power. A bunch of frogs died.
One of my frogs died too. What's with us and dead frogs? Anyway, that's.
I mean, I definitely have a lot more frogs under the death belt than you do.
I mean, I really tried not to. Okay. I believe that we're gonna follow. Oh, I just did Jiffy because I spend more time sending GIFs to my coworkers at work than actually on Slack than actually working. Okay, here we go. So we are gonna raid Monochromantic. She is amazing. She is playing currently Just Chatting, my favorite game. And
we can chat if you want to and leave your friends behind. Because if you're not following Monochromantic, then you can punch Moat.
Don't punch me.
Yeah,
Right.
I was gonna say you punch your behind, but that sounds offensive. We're content creators and coworkers. And although I am HR, probably not fair.
We'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.